No, you need to get off me. Your part of the video is done. You need to go because your part of the video is over. When you're creating a character, you're generally going to intend for that character to have a certain amount of likability or unlikability to the reader. If readers like your villain more than your protagonist, that's going to be a problem. There are several things that you as a writer can do when crafting your characters to ensure that this doesn't happen. So here are some tips on how to craft a likable character. As we'll see, it's more complicated than just giving them horns and having them charge at red things. I don't get what you're going, oh, like a bull. No, I get it. It's just not going in the video. Tip number 1, give your character flaws. One of the factors that contributes to likability is relatability. People in real life generally have flaws, so if you want readers to relate to your characters, you need to give your characters flaws. I did a whole video about flaws that will be linked down in the video description, but the basic idea is you want to give your characters a mixture of minor flaws and major flaws. The minor flaws will serve to add some distinction to your characters and help flesh out who they are to the reader, and the major flaws will give your characters something to overcome through the course of the story, which ties nicely into tip number 2. Tip number 2, have your characters want something, or ideally more than one thing. In other words, give them goals and motivations. I've done some videos in the past on character goals and motivations, and those will be linked down below. Man, I'm really getting my money's worth out of that back catalog today. Characters who want something, whether that thing is good or not, are going to be more interesting to the reader. Establishing your character's motivation, or the reason that they do what they do, will help your readers connect with the character and let them know if it's somebody they should like or not. When your character's motivation is clear to the reader, then the reader is more likely to feel that they understand that character. And understanding that character will make them more likable to the reader, or unlikable, depending on. Most of the time, you will want to give your characters more than one thing that they are trying to achieve, or at least flesh out the reasons for why they're trying to achieve what they want to achieve. Not only will this add a bit more depth to your characters and your story, but it will prevent you from straying into cliche territory. Tip number 3, show other people liking the character or not liking them. You may or may not have noticed that humans have built up a reasonably complex system of social hierarchies built upon a foundation of cultural norms and mores which dictates socially acceptable behavior. Or you may remember these things from the time before everybody had to be locked in their houses all the time. The feedback that we receive from others about someone goes a long way in determining how we feel about that person. This goes back to the whole foundational hierarchy, social complexity thing. If you show other characters talking about how likable another character is, then the reader is naturally going to like that character more. Obviously, you need to use a bit of nuance here, or this is going to come across as being really forced, but generally this is a pretty straightforward thing to pull off. Show other characters acknowledging the good deeds of your character, or just generally acting like they like the character, and the character is naturally going to become more likable to the reader. Of course, in order to do that, you need to, tip number 4, show them doing good things. Probably heard that if you want to make a character likable, you should have them save a cat. This comes from a screenwriting book whose name currently escapes me. Seriously, what was that book called? In a similar vein, if you want to make a character unlikable, you can have them kick a cat. Unless the cat is the villain of the story, in which case that might make them more likable? I guess it depends on how well you've established the likability of the cat. No, you need to get off me. Your part of the video is done. You need to go because your part of the video is over. And finally, tip number 5, to make a character more likable, show them changing and growing as a person. We all generally learn and change through time, always seeking to improve ourselves. That last statement is completely untrue. Okay, some of us learn and change through time seeking to improve ourselves. Characters who actively work to overcome their weaknesses and vulnerabilities through time are going to be more compelling and also more likable. By showing a character change into a better person, they will naturally become more likable. This means that a character may start out being unlikable and may become more likable by the end of the story. Even just showing a person recognizing their faults and making an effort to change them will make them more likable. Conversely, if someone acknowledges their faults and then refuses to change, then that will likely make them less likable. These people know who they are. So I hope you liked these tips about character likability. See what I did there? If you want to see more videos like this, you can check out all my other writing advice videos and subscribe to my channel. I post new writing advice videos every Wednesday. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.